All right, and welcome to this month's wellness webinar.
This is Amanda and Jared from Fit to Last, just in case you didn't know where you were, what website you're on, or who you're listening to.
Now, we put it out there to our VIP members last month, a topic that they would like to learn a little bit more on, and we had some really popular feedback on this particular topic we're going
So
to
this
cover
particular
today.
topic, was probably the most requested. So what is the topic?
The topic that we're going to be talking about today is all about sleep, nighttime routines, and sleep hygiene.
It's funny that routine is still something that comes up no matter what we talk about, whether it's exercise, diet, sleep now. Routine is so important to our lives because as human beings, we do really operate and function on routine.
Absolutely. And, as we know, sleep is such an integral and important part of our health.
Or maybe we don't realize that.
Well, actually, maybe,
I think a
yeah.
lot of people don't realize that. They focus on health and fitness as being what you eat and what you do physically.
And I've heard that saying so many times before like, oh, sleep when you're dead, let's get on with it, but I can't disagree with that enough because sleep is so important for our recovery, for our muscle growth, for our immune systems, for every single part of our body, our health, our healing.
Yeah.
That it's such an integral part.
It's funny, before we even get into this, and I'm just thinking of this on the spot because I am literally looking down and seeing my phone. And I think it's important to realize that your body is going to function much like your iPhone or your Samsung Galaxy, depending on which one you have.
Definitely iPhone.
iPhone for us, but we're not going to get to that argument. It's a whole nother webinar. But your body functions like that, and your phone doesn't function properly if it drops down to that little red zone where it gets to 20% or less and you just whack it in for a quick charge. You stick it on and you charge it back up for half an hour to 30%, 40%, and you expect it to function at its optimum capacity. It has a limited battery life when you do it. And the more that you do that with your phone battery, I don't know if you realize this, but its capacity to fully recharge decreases all the time. So when you fully charge it after a while, it only actually charges up to about 70% as its maximum. And that battery life deteriorates over time the more that you quickly just try and chuck it on for an hour here and 30 minutes there, things like that. And your body is basically the same thing. If you do not let it recharge and rebuild back up to its full capacity, then it struggles to function.
That's a really good analogy, actually. And so,
You're damn right.
on on that topic, I thought it would be really great today to cover kind of four different categories, I guess, around promoting healthier sleep habits, which is actually also known as sleep hygiene. Did you know that?
I did not know that. When you actually brought that up, I thought you were going to say something like make sure you shower before you go to bed, wear clean pajamas that you haven't worn for the last 5 nights straight, things like that.
No,
Wash your bed sheets.
Having healthier sleep habits is called sleep hygiene. So the topics that we're going to cover
we're all learning
today is all around creating a sleep-inducing bedroom, optimizing your sleep schedule, crafting a pre-bedtime routine, and fostering pro-sleep habits during the day.
So this really is all-encompassing.
Absolutely. So let's dive in, shall we?
Let's start with creating a sleep-inducing bedroom.
Definitely. So I don't know whether you know this or not, but your bedroom is, it's a place of comfort and relaxation, and your sleep environment has to maximize on comfort and minimizing distractions in order to promote really great healthy sleep. And I know a lot of the time we often use our bedrooms as places of other activity as well, or we might go and do our work in our bed, or we have kids come in and pets and all the things that can happen in a bedroom, which I don't know whether you know this or not, but it can mentally distract you having lots of things going on in that zone from promoting healthy sleep.
I suppose it's also why we never paint bedrooms with really loud colors and things like that, because it doesn't help you sleep.
Yeah. So some essential tips to creating a sleep-inducing bedroom. Well, first of all, you want to make sure that you've got a really, really good quality mattress and pillow. These things are vital to making sure that you're comfortable enough to be able to relax. And I don't know whether you knew this or not, but with your pillow, you've actually got to make sure that you've got one that's designed specifically for you. So whether you are a side sleeper, a back sleeper, or a stomach sleeper, there are different types of pillows in order to make sure that your spine actually gets the proper support while you're sleeping based on what position you sleep in.
Yep. and choosing quality bedding. So look for bedding that feels comfortable to the touch and that will help maintain a comfortable temperature during the night, because you don't want bedding that makes you feel like you're encased in something if that's not how you feel comfortable, something that makes you feel too hot. And I can really attest to this. I was always someone that never used to worry particularly about the quality of the mattress or anything like that. But I remember actually having to do some work in Toowoomba and staying in a pretty decent hotel. It wasn't a terrible hotel. And I remember the bed was so terrible. I remember it was one of those beds that made you feel like you were sort of sinking in the middle. And I usually don't have a lot of trouble sleeping. Like, I'm the kind of guy that can sleep on 5 hours sleep and I'm ready to go, all cylinders firing. And I remember waking up the next day and I had a whole day's worth of work to do and it just wrecked me. And I slept okay. I still slept through the night, but because of that discomfort, my back was sore the next day. I remember feeling it in my legs. And I remember feeling like I had probably the least amount of energy that I've ever had for sleeping about 7 or 8 hours. It really just killed me. So I can fully attest to that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. The next one I'm going to move to is around peace and quiet. Keeping noise to an absolute minimum is an important part of building a really positive sleep bedroom.
And that's also why your bedrooms are generally built towards the back of the house, not the front.
I know that can be challenging, especially if you've got little kids that are waking in the night and stuff like that. Like, that's a whole other topic. But generally, if you can keep noise to a minimum, you're going to be promoting, a good quality sleep.
But there are things you can do with that too, like headphones and things you can put in your ears that can also help. So that's something worth looking into.
Yeah, white noise speakers.
White noise speakers can really help. That helps me when I travel, is having noise like that. And another really interesting one is introducing pleasant aromas or essential oils that have more of a natural smell to them, natural aroma, such as things like lavender, which can produce a soothing or fresh smell for your bedroom. Now, lavender is actually a really good one, even if you can buy a spray that you can put on your pillow. It's amazing how much that helps to spray that onto your pillow before you go to sleep.
Yeah. Pillow sprays are a really big thing. Or having like a diffuser next to your bed.
Yeah, anything like that really does
sprays,
help. Helps you breathe better too during the night too.
Yeah. I don't know whether you guys know this or not, but Jared is an avid essential oil fan.
Yeah, I just like smells.
Loves
I like things that
loves
smell
an
good.
essential oil, don't you?
Yeah. I have a bubblegum one. So that's about as natural and aromatic as you can get. I like lots of smells. I'm really big on smells. Yes.
So the last one in this topic that I'm going to cover, and I'm going to tell you a little story about this one as well. It's around avoiding light disruption. So if you are exposing yourself to what we call white light, before you sleep, and before you sleep, I mean like 30 to 60 minutes before you're sleeping, what it can actually do is completely throw out your circadian rhythm. And so one of the things that is really helpful is having things like blackout curtains or a sleep mask over your eyes, or something where you can actually block out light and prevent it from interfering with your rest. Now, I'm going to share this link with you guys in the show notes, but I actually listened to an amazing podcast semi-recently all around circadian rhythm and natural light and how our bodies respond to this, and why in the day and age that we live in now, we're struggling so much with sleep because we don't live the same way that we used to years and years ago, where we, rose with the sunrise, we worked during the day, and we slept, after sunset. We now have things like the light bulb and TVs and phones and shift work, where people are working,
That's a big one.
At times that we're not, in quote unquote, supposed to work, right? And so the podcast itself, and like I said, I'll share it with you guys, was actually from two creators of an amazing company that created these blue blocking glasses. And so they were talking about their product and how, they're really, really effective to wear at nighttime if you are looking at phone screens or TVs or have lights on in your house, right? They were talking about blue blocking glasses, and I'll get into that another time.
Blocking out blue light.
Blocking out blue light.
So she's not talking about blocking out the color blue. She's talking about blocking out blue light.
Blue light,
which comes from screens.
Yeah, that's correct. And so they were talking about that, but there was an interesting part of that podcast that I listened to where they talked about the circadian rhythm in your body and how it works. And what they suggested is that when you wake in the morning, if you could wake with the sunrise and literally go outside and put your eyeballs into the sunrise for a few minutes and get that really yummy, like reddy, orangey, yellow color into your eyes, what it does is it produces a hormone in your body that wakes your body up and you're ready to go for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Then they said at around lunchtime, go out into the sun for 10 minutes, look up into the sky, eat your lunch outside, whatever it is, and just get some natural sunlight into your eyes and onto your skin. It's like a natural energy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like, how you said before, charging your iPhone up. That's what happens when you go in the sun. Yep. You charge your body up.
Mm-hmm.
Then the last time you want to go outside and directly stare at the sun for a couple of minutes is on the sunset. And same thing, getting that beautiful orangey, pinky, reddy color into your eyes. On the sunset, what that does is it produces the hormone melatonin in your body. And so this is all to do with your circadian rhythm and how your body naturally knows when it's time to wake up, time to give itself an energy pump, and when it's time to start winding down. Then they mentioned about having things like artificial light in your home, so light bulbs and things like that, and how using lights at nighttime actually can disrupt your circadian rhythm. And so they suggested using things like candles or red light bulbs, things with like a reddy, orangey tinge to them, because it helps that melatonin state in your body stay present. And so your body stays relaxed.
Yeah. It's like having those really dim light bulbs as well.
Yes.
With the old school filaments to sort of make you feel.
Yeah. And so I found that really interesting that like they were actually saying they took it to the extreme. In their house, they actually only have red light bulbs in all of their light fittings. And I thought that was quite interesting. But yeah, like I actually didn't know that.
That must make them seem like they have a whole nother business going on.
Well, if
like,
you listen to the podcast, they do go a little bit into that. It's quite funny.
It's totally, yeah.
It's quite funny. So I'll share that link if you guys want to have a listen to that. Just that little section of that podcast I found so interesting.
Isn't it funny though? If you really look at nature itself, that is a very present thing, because even if you think about having birds, the way you get them to go to sleep is you put a cloth over their cage and it's not like the bird's stupid. They know it's not nighttime, but it does. Having that lack of light tricks your body into winding down. And I don't know if you know this, but I don't know if you've ever paid attention to it too, but you notice that this happens on planes.
Yeah, that's true.
It's actually, they have a specific program built into their light cycles on the plane to basically produce those hormones in your body. And if you actually look at it, like you could take off from Sydney at 10 o'clock in the morning and they might be needing to get you into the cycle of LA, if that's where you're going to. So it might be, okay, we need to try and get you to start to fall asleep around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So the light cycles change to generally very light purples and things like that to really dim the cabin. Then they switch everything off. It has a specific cycle. It switches everything off. Then at the time they need you to wake up, the lights cycle back to a warmer color.
And it could be like midnight.
Before they actually come back on. And that's why they need everybody to drop the shades and things like that. And it's to trick your body into producing the right hormones to make you feel like, I need to sleep now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
So I'm going to come back to this in one of the other topics a little bit later, but let's move on to the next topic where we're talking about optimizing your sleep schedule. So what I mean by this is, it is really important to have an actual sleep schedule. Yes, there's ideal and there's real. Again, if you have little kids, this is probably near on impossible.
They're setting the wake-up schedule for you.
But if you're in control of your wake-up schedule or just your sleep schedule in general, one tip that I really suggest is setting a fixed wake-up time. It's almost impossible for your body to get accustomed to a really healthy sleep routine if you're constantly waking up at different times. Now, that can be hard if you do have little children or you're a rostered shift worker or something like that. But in an ideal world, if you could pick a wake-up time and stick with it, even on weekends or other days when you would otherwise be tempted to sleep in, this will help your body really stay in a natural sleep rhythm.
Yep. My body does that, 5:30, 6 o'clock every day, weekends or not. You need to budget time for your sleep. So what I want to say about that is if you want to make sure that you're getting the recommended amount of sleep, then you need to build that time into your schedule. You need to make the time, not find the time, you need to make the time. Considering your fixed wake up time, work backwards. So if you know your fixed wake up time is going to be, let's say, 6 a.m. every day, work it back. If you know your body needs between 6 to 8 hours sleep, then that's going to tell you when you need to be going to bed. And there are some great apps you can get as well that help do that for you. Amanda uses them too. You could probably talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I actually have a like it's just built into my iPhone app. I told it how many, hours of sleep I want per night.
Mm-hmm.
And when I have my alarm set for the morning, it actually tells me what time I need to be going to bed and what time I need to sleep. Yeah. And it gives me like a notification an hour before that time. Hey, you need to start winding down for sleep now. It's really cool.
Yeah, and it's a great thing to do, but you need to make that time in your day. If you want to get the most out of your life and your days, then you need to build that in.
The other thing I just want to touch on before we move on is to be really careful with naps as well. Just obviously we know that if you want to sleep better at night, it's really important to be careful with the amount of time that you're napping. Did you know actually that the best time to nap is shortly after lunch in the afternoon?
That's when I nap.
For around about 20 minutes.
I nap for about 10 minutes because that's all I need. But yeah, I generally do it around the same time every day.
And I think, is it like South America maybe, or even Spain, they call it a siesta.
Yeah, they do, and they have it just after lunch break.
Yeah, and all the shops shut. Everybody goes for a nap in the afternoon.
Yeah, early afternoon. And it's because it's sensible. Whereas in the West, we like to work constantly.
Yes. Hustle. So, I encourage siestas. All right, let's talk about bedtime routine. This was a hot topic with some of our followers about, so they got to bed and it was okay, but what are the things that you can be doing before actually getting to bed and starting to create a bit of a pre-bed routine if they're having a hard time falling asleep?
So what should you do? You want to wind down at least 30 minutes before your set bedtime. So if it's 10 o'clock, let's say that's your bedtime, you need to be winding down about 9:30. And what things you could do for that is reading. It's amazing how reading winds you down and almost makes you feel like you're going to fall asleep.
Oh, my eyes literally fall asleep on the page.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. You could do some low impact stretching. You could listen to some soothing music. And generally when we say soothing music, the best kind is actually instrumental. Is stuff without lyrics, because when you have lyrics, your brain focuses on lyrics. It's like if you try to do two things at once, like read a book and listen to music. You can listen to music when it hasn't got words. It's hard to listen to music and read at the same time when there are words coming from both sources.
I mean, if you think about, like, when you go and get a massage.
Just about to say that.
And there's background music.
They don't have singing.
Yeah, they don't have lyrics in it.
No, they have songs you might know, but they don't have lyrics for that reason, because then you focus on the lyrics. So yeah, doing things like that really does make a big difference.
Lower the lights. So like I was saying before, you want to try and avoid having bright lights so you can transition into your bedtime and nighttime routine to produce melatonin in the body. So this is actually something I've started recently doing, and I actually love it so much because I do work, quite late into the evening. Like, I'm generally not getting home until 8:30 at night, and then I eat dinner and I go and have a shower at like 9:30. I know I'm unusual. One of the things that I've actually started implementing that my body is loving is when I go up to have a shower, I actually shower by candlelight now. So I turn all the lights off in the bathroom and just shower by candlelight. I cannot tell you how relaxing that is.
Just don't try and shave at that time, because it's not going to end well.
Shaving's a morning thing,
I think. It can be an anytime thing. You could be a shift worker ready to go out to work, but I feel like make sure you do sensible things with candlelight and not things you need precision for.
Give it a try. I guarantee you'll feel quite relaxed showering by candlelight.
Yeah. And another thing you can do is disconnect from your devices. So that's things like tablets, cell phones, or laptops. They can keep you wired as hell. So making it really hard for you to really wind down. Amanda will talk, I'm sure, more about these blue light glasses, or listen to the podcast, because they can be great for looking at screens. You want to make sure also that your device, now I know on our phones, we have the device that sets it to night mode, which lowers the intensity and the brightness of the screen.
It also changes the screen to like a reddish color
changes
as well.
Changes the text backgrounds from whites to blacks and things like that. That is actually a really important thing for you to have. And it's important to think too, when we say reading, we talked about winding down with reading. Try not to read on your tablet.
Your Kindle or your tablet.
Kindles are okay because they have no backlight.
Well,
to them.
yeah. Sorry.
So an Amazon Kindle, perfect because it has no backlight. But read a book, an actual physical book, rather than something that is really brightly lit on your screen, because that's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, it probably goes without saying. I mean, well, we already talked about disconnecting from your device, but don't be reading things on social media that are quite stressful and
especially now. Don't read social media at all.
Just do yourself the favor. Okay?
Yeah, just read something that relaxes you. It could be a self-help book. It could be a story. It could be a fictional novel that just helps you escape from what's happening. That's great. All that stuff is brilliant.
Definitely. All right. So last topic that we're going to cover is called pro sleep habits during the day. Now, I don't know if you knew this or not, but setting up a high quality sleep is actually an all day affair.
I did not know that.
But well, let's talk into it a little bit and you will come out of this a lot more educated about your sleep. So we want to see the light of day. Now, I've talked about this a couple of times now, but our internal clocks are regulated by light exposure. So if you want to make sure that you're feeling charged up during the day and getting the most energy out of your body in the day, you need to go outside, get into the natural light, or open the blinds into your home.
And really think about this. If you work in an office, if you work somewhere like I have worked in these places too, where the office portion was actually very internal and did not have windows, you had to go out into a warehouse or out into a reception area or something to see the outside world. Make sure that you're doing that. If you have a 5-minute break for a coffee break or something, take your damn coffee and go and stand outside for a minute.
Yeah, you've got to get that natural light during the day so your body can have that, like you said before, with the cell phone, the mobile
charging.
phone is like
We don't say cell phone here.
Whatever it is, phone. Like, so you can charge up and get that, like get the hormones released in your body that you need during the day so your body can properly wind down at nighttime.
Yep.
Okay.
You have to have that connection to the outside world. So find time to move. Now, this shouldn't be too hard if you're one of our followers or a Gold Crusher member or anything like that. But moving is so important because you notice how that when you have movement, movement, daily exercise, it motivates you. It gives you that shot of energy, and it's something your body needs to exert on a daily basis. Otherwise, you're just lethargic and tired, but not the right kind of tired. It helps to increase your body temperature and really helps you promote solid sleep. So a lot of experts advise against intense exercise close to bedtime. So what that means is if you're going to bed at 10 o'clock, a HIIT class at 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night, not the best option. Not the best option because you're going to be wired. You're not going to be winding down.
Maybe just try some light yoga or something like that.
You can exercise in the evening, absolutely, because for a lot of people that helps to promote sleep, but not too close to when you want to go to bed.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's really important.
Monitor your caffeine intake. Obviously, we know that caffeine, like, caffeinated drinks, coffee, teas, soft drinks, energy drinks,
no Red Bull in there.
If you're having those, you're going to be wired, right? I don't suggest having those in the evening or too close to,
I think
before when you're going to go to sleep.
If you're going to have any of those, you would have tea because it is so naturally caffeinated, but it's very low in caffeine compared to the others. Some people like to fall asleep with, they can have like a chamomile tea.
Just a nice herbal
something
tea.
Like that. Perfect.
You
can absolutely do that. Do not have a long black by your bedside.
Or a Red Bull or anything like that.
Or maybe just don't have a Red Bull.
I would like to think that most people would know that.
You would be surprised. You would actually be surprised. Some people's bodies don't tolerate caffeine even after like 5. If they have coffee after 5, they are like my mum's like that. She has a coffee anywhere like with dinner. She's wired all night. Yeah, and dinner could be 6 o'clock. And she's wired all night. She really struggles to go to sleep. So everybody is different, but just be very aware of that. If you're finding it hard to sleep and you can't figure out why, even look at when you're having those highly caffeinated drinks. Do you have a Coke with dinner, for example?
The same goes with alcohol as well. Now, alcohol is an interesting one because it can actually induce drowsiness. So a lot of people really love a nightcap before bed.
Drowsiness is not sleep or winding down the right way.
So what happens with alcohol is it can actually affect the brain in other ways, and it lowers your sleep quality. So if you are having a bit of a nightcap or a glass of wine or something like that with dinner, you might feel nice and relaxed and sleepy, but the quality of your sleep will potentially be a lot poorer.
Yeah, you can still wake up pretty wasted, like not in a good way, like
Yeah.
and really dehydrated too.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
don't recommend alcohol.
We're not saying don't do it, just don't make a habit of it every night,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, that's it.
Now, this is a hard one for us in particular, but something to pay attention to is don't eat too late, because if you do, it can be harder to fall asleep because your body has to actually work hard to digest food. It doesn't just happen naturally. If you're eating really close to bedtime, your metabolism has to speed up during that nighttime to try and process everything. So you may be sleeping, but it's working really hard. You want to keep food-based sleep disruptions to a minimum. So no chocolate bars before bed, okay, if you can. And you want to limit the amount of fatty or spicy foods in the evening. If you have a snack in the evening, go for something light, something easy, something healthy, piece of fruit, maybe something like that. Will really help you with your sleep.
All right, one last thing that I want to touch on before we give you some hot tips to try and fall asleep is, and I talked about this before, about setting your bedroom up for, very, very specific reasons. Now, your bed is such a sanctuary, and I really believe that your bed is a place for sleep and for making love only. And if you have a really comfortable bed...
Does that mean you're jumping on it?
Okay, with the exception of
why
jumping.
am I even here? Why do you need me in this?
With the exception of jumping. But look, if you have a really comfortable bed, you might be tempted to hang out there and do all kinds of activities like
we said, work.
Work and reading, and I don't know, what else do other people... Eating,
yeah,
some
people do that.
Like,
that's definitely a hotel thing too. You do everything in bed because you've got nowhere else to sit. That shouldn't happen at home.
Yeah, but look, because those things can just cause a lot of problems at bedtime, and you want to have a really strong mental association between like bed and sleep. So try, if you can, the activities that you just want to have happening in your bed is strictly sleep and making love with your partner. That's it.
Yeah, and look, this doesn't have to be you can never do that stuff. Sometimes it's great on a weekend. You want to snuggle in bed and watch TV and have some dessert or any of that. It's fine. But as a routine...
Yeah, we're talking like everyday stuff.
It should be the exception to the routine and not the routine itself.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, that pretty much wraps up some of our hot tips for creating bedtime routine and promoting healthy sleep. But if you are someone who, really struggles with falling asleep, we've got a few tips for you that you can try once you are in bed if you really are struggling. So the first thing you want to try is some relaxation techniques. So things like controlled breathing, mindfulness or meditation. Cheeky plug here, you can head over to our meditation section in our Gold Crusher membership and download one of our sleep meditations.
Yep, you could definitely do that. That works a treat.
Things like even guided imagery as well. Do you remember that old nursery rhyme of counting sheep? Like, that's actually guided imagery.
Yeah, it's important to realize you can't focus on falling asleep. You can't will yourself to sleep, because the more you do that, the more focused you are.
Yeah.
And that's the opposite.
Well, that kind of leads into our second one about, stewing in bed and being really frustrated about sleeplessness.
And you toss from side to side and you're like, why can't I fall asleep? Because it just doesn't work like that.
Definitely. So if you are feeling sleepy, try not to feel frustrated and focus on it. And please try and avoid checking the time. This will only make you more frustrated and keep you more wired.
You could keep a sleep diary, which is something like a sleep journal that can help you keep track of how well you're sleeping and identify factors that might be helping or hurting your sleep. That's a really interesting one. If you're testing out a new sleep schedule or a new change to your hygiene before you go to sleep, keep the diary, and it will help you understand what's working and what's not working.
Yeah.
And it helps us to have that, not just to try and think about it, but to be able to look back and go, okay, what did I do on Monday night? I didn't sleep well. Okay. I had a coffee with dinner, or I did this, or I stayed up watching TV really late, or I had super late dinner. It will help you identify the things that maybe you need to change to help that.
For sure, yeah. Documenting anything, it just gives you data, right?
Definitely. And one other thing I'm going to say as well, and we are not promoting popping pills to help you sleep or any of that sort of stuff, because it really isn't a great thing to do. It's not a good habit to do. There is one thing that will help you sleep, however, which is a tablet, and is something you will have to go and get from a pharmacy. But you can actually buy melatonin. We talked about melatonin being a
Mm,
chemical that your body naturally releases. That's the sleep hormone. You can actually buy that as a tablet as well to increase the amount of melatonin that's in your body. So that could be something that if you do struggle to switch off of a nighttime and help you sleep, taking that on a regular basis will help. It's not something you
mm,
can just pop and it works. It's something that needs to be built up in your system. Okay, so it's like
yeah,
taking magnesium. It's a very natural substance. It's fine. You want to take it on a regular basis if it's something you're going to do, and you will find that it helps benefit you quite a
defin
lot.
definitely. So I hope that those tips have helped you and that you've had some golden nuggets here around
Hmm.
some ideas that you can incorporate into your nighttime routine and your daytime routine as well to start promoting a healthier sleep routine and what do we call it? Sleep
We
hygiene.
did. We did call it that. I'm not sure why, but we did. So yeah, hopefully this has given you, like Amanda said, some great tips, but hopefully it's even made you aware of things that you maybe were doing that you didn't realize. That you didn't
Mm,
realize actually played a part in your sleep or how important your sleep is to your energy. And this directly relates back to your health and fitness goals too. Maybe you're struggling to get the most out of a workout or you feel like you can't progress. And maybe it's because you're charging your iPhone to 30% every time instead of giving it a full charge to be able to do what it needs to do.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So let us know your golden nuggets if you had any from this wellness webinar. We
Hmm.
would love to know what you took away from this. You
Yep.
could post that in our Facebook group or send us a direct message or an email. We'd love to know
We'd like to know how this helps.
for sure.
All right.
All
That's
right.
us done.
Sweet dreams.
Lame. All right.